Alright, it finally arrived. The everyone's invited Secret Lair Commander deck Precon from Wizards of the Coast. And everyone else can pick up a copy of this fascinating deck for the low price of $200 plus tax. That's going to be about $210, I think, is what I paid for this. Anyway, let's take a look inside and go through the cards that we got. First off, we got a little paper slip here saying thank you for being a part of Secret Lair. I think this comes in every single Secret Lair drop. I mean, not this exact one, but something pretty much exactly just like it is what it is. So when I picked up this Precon, it actually came with a little added bonus. It came with a Secret Lair Ultimate Pencil is what it was, and I'm gonna go ahead and show that for you guys and let me know what you think, because I mean, me personally, I'm thinking it's a pencil, you know? It's a pencil, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I think it would have been pretty cool if it came with like some treasure token, maybe, that had like a Secret Lair stamp on it. Maybe like, I don't know, something like that. But a pencil's cool too. Anyway, here's the deck box, and that's going to come with your 100 cards with the Morphon the Boundless as your commander. Got a little shine on the deck box there. It's kind of cool compared to a normal Precon, but is it $200 cool compared to the $35 to $50 you'd be paying for a normal commander deck? What do you think? Here we got a spin down life counter. Little bit of foiling on that. Kind of cool. But everyone's got like 50 of these things at this point. And then here we are with the actual Precon itself, and you can see right there we got Morphon the Boundless. Honestly, I've always kind of wanted to make a Morphon the Boundless deck, and I think that's primarily one of the reasons why I picked up this Secret Lair deck. Because I really kind of enjoy changelings, and you can do a lot of different things and put archetype specific cards, creature type specific cards in these decks, such as Reaper King. Very cool card. I always wanted to make a deck with Reaper King. Never really worked out right, at least not the way I wanted it to. And then unfortunately, if you use Reaper King as your commander, be prepared for it to just get killed on sight immediately. Oh, what's that? You actually wanted to play Reaper King and have him on the field for more than one turn? I don't think so. Not gonna happen. And here he is, Morphon the Boundless, in a new Secret Lair art never been seen before. Now, how many printings of Morphon the Boundless are there at this point? I want to say 6. How many different arts, though? I believe 2 or 3. And here we have Raise the Palisade. Interesting card indeed. Bitter Blossom, 2 mana, create a 1/1 black fairy rogue. Taurian Mauler, this card does kind of go hard with a lot of creature specific decks. I play it in my elemental deck, especially with 1/1 counters. Goes really good with any 1/1 counter deck. Avenger of Zendikar, very classic card. But I'm not really sure I would want to run this deck as a go wide sort of strategy. I feel like that's kind of what was being proposed with the deck, just based off the cards in the pre-con. I think it's kind of like a go wide strategy, and then you buff everything up with Coat of Arms or Avenger of Zendikar, and then just do something with that. Of course, Avenger of Zendikar relies on landfall quite a bit. And while this deck does have some ways to ramp, it's not primarily a ramping deck, so I'm not sure how good Avenger of Zendikar actually is. And there's Coat of Arms, probably one of the best cards in the deck in my opinion. At least one of the most valuable. Next we have Maskwood Nexus. I think this is probably one of my favorite arts from the Secret Lair drop. I really like that Maskwood Nexus. And I actually don't own a copy of Maskwood Nexus, so that was kind of cool for me personally. And then we have Sol Ring, just a new art for Sol Ring. I mean, everyone has one at this point, but still kind of cool to see, I guess. Next we got Harper Recruiter. There kind of is a lot of party cards in this deck. I don't know how I feel about that. Not sure how you guys feel about party cards. There's another one right there. Tazri, Beacon of Unity. 1 less for each creature in your party. I can definitely see why they came in the deck, but I'm still not really sure if I dig party cards so much. Kindred Discovery, I actually am playing that in one of my zombie decks. Black Market Connections, do really like that card actually. Kindred Dominance, I feel like Kindred Dominance, this may be a controversial opinion, but I feel like Kindred Dominance was a really good card. Would I say that it's still a great card to this day? Not really sure about that one. I mean, it's 7 mana for a board wipe. Granted, you'll get to keep your creatures because they're all the same type, right? Of course, you'll have to have something like Maskwood Nexus down or something like that. I think this deck came with a few other cards that have that ability. But all your non-changelings will still pretty much die, which is why I think you really want to have a lot more changelings and a lot less cards that rely on you having changelings. Bruised Tarl, Roving Rancher, yeah, he's alright. Cloud Shredder, Sliver. Slivers are always cool. Now, I've never actually got a Secret Lair pre-con before. This is my first one I've ever picked up. So I do think it's kind of interesting that most of the cards have different printings from what set they were printed on. We got Commander Masters right here, a mythic from Commander Masters. Ruka Rumel, Biologist, and that works with all your slivers. And of course, if you have changelings, it's going to work with your changelings too. And then that is the only Wooburg creature in the whole deck, meaning that out of all your creatures, that is the only one that Morphon is going to allow you to cast for free. I think I would add a few more creatures that Morphon would allow you to cast for free. Reaper King. Of course, you could also add any of the legendary Sliver creatures. I believe they're all just Wooburg. I might be wrong about that. I don't play Slivers. But I know a lot of people like them. And especially the one that gives them all indestructible. That one can be super useful depending on the decks you're going against. Fabled Passage, that's actually a great card. I love that card in any sort of landfall base decks. Honestly, any deck, pretty much. Kind of expensive, so I'm not playing it in all of my decks, but I play it when I have it. Overflowing Basin. Secluded Glen. Sungrass Prairie. There's the World Tree. Pretty interesting card. I do like the World Tree. Crib Swap, that would be really nice with anything that has to do with creatures entering of a specific type, like Reaper King. Kinsbale Cavalier, he's going to give all your changelings double strike. Pretty powerful if you want to win with a sort of go wide strategy. I could definitely see this deck being played as a go wide strategy, giving all your creatures double strike. And then having the Sliver that gives them all haste. If you were able to have that Sliver that gives them all haste, and you could give them all double strike, I think you would have to have Maskwood Nexus to make them all the same type. But then you could cast a bunch of creatures from your hand for free with Morphon. Of course, you'd have to add them to the deck. Pongify. Classic. Shapeshare, decent changeling. Graveshifter, he's a little expensive. He's alright for a very casual game, but he is a little expensive. Skeletal Changeling, regenerate for 2. Firebelly Changeling. Beast Within. I really feel like if your deck is playing Wooburg, like, do you really need to play Beast Within? I feel like there's cheaper options to use in different colors that don't give your opponents cards. Maybe that's just me. I guess it does destroy target permanent, so you can use it for anything. Not horrible. Cultivate, very classic. I do think 3 mana ramp spells are a little pricey. Really depends on the deck you're wanting to play. But typically in my decks, I like to try to get out my commander by turn 3. And if you're getting out your commander, when are you going to use the Cultivate? You could play it turn 4, you could play Cultivate turn 5, but then you've just got more creatures and more stuff you probably can and will cast by that point. But in a casual game, it's not bad. Spoils of Adventure. I'm honestly not sure if I really like that card that much. I'm not even gonna lie. You can cast it for 2 if you have a full party. Maybe you don't have to have a full party on it. Arcane Signet. Bloodline Pretender. Bloodline Pretender is a playable card. Universal Automaton. Universal Automaton is actually, I think, very playable in a lot of different decks that care about creature types. allowing you to get out the creature type on turn 1. Think about it with Mox Jasper. Has anyone considered changelings with Mox Jasper? I know for a dragon deck, it can be a little maybe underwhelming because you're not likely to get out a dragon until turn 4 or 5 unless you play some of the really crappy dragons just to get value on your Mox Jasper. But if you're playing changelings, you could have an active Mox Jasper turn 1. Seaside Citadel. Path of Ancestry. Decent. I typically forget about Path of Ancestry triggers. Half the time I will use its ability and forget that it does that, and then I'll not do that because I forgot. And then we're on to the basic lands. Here's Swamp. That was actually kind of a cool swamp. Mountain. Decent arts on the lands. Decent arts. Not bad. And then we're on to the tokens. This came with 10 tokens, and then I think 5 of the shapeshifter special secret lair art cards, I want to say. They're all double-sided, but yeah, I'm not gonna worry about showing both sides. You get the picture. Here are the secret lair art shapeshifter tokens. Pretty neat. Every single one of them has a different art. And then all the backside is just a normal Magic the Gathering back, which is pretty interesting. You don't often see that on tokens, to have an actual Magic the Gathering back. And then for the last card, Changeling Outcast. Now, Changeling Outcast was actually not mentioned on this deck. It's actually a bonus card. I counted them up, and it actually has 101 cards with the Changeling Outcast. And I would definitely swap that in because Changeling Outcast is a very playable card. In my opinion, one of the better Changelings. Changeling Outcast, Universal Automaton, really any sort of Changeling you can get out turn 1 or with 1 mana is going to be pretty good. Morphon the Boundless will let you cast Changeling Outcast for free, which is pretty nice. I actually set aside one of my Changeling Outcasts, my only Changeling Outcast, that I was already playing in a deck because I just thought it would be so much better in this deck. And then I found out it did come with Changeling Outcast as a little bonus, which I thought was pretty cool. Granted, is it $200 cool? I'm not so sure about that. What do you guys think? You think that this deck was $200 cool? Would you play this deck? Have you always wanted to make a Changeling deck? How many of these cards do you already have? But I think that's going to do it for today. And I am Sir Gregory. And I will see you guys in the next video.